I have to be in the middle when it starts, because if you're not in the middle, it throws off the whole internet. It starts going sideways, people crash their phones.
And now he's live here, he's live there, you're live.
Okay, so we're live on the various social platforms that are Adorama. Welcome, guys. If you don't know, we stream live. You see, now you saw all the background to it, onto Facebook and YouTube whenever we do this on Thursdays, whenever I'm here. On Adorama's channel, so if you guys cannot attend for some reason, you could always watch it online. If you guys are watching it online, well, that's okay, I didn't need that. If you guys are watching it online, you know, why don't you come to the store? It's fun here, right? You guys get to see all the behind the scenes. You see Seth yelling at people. It's pretty exciting. So, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyways, so welcome to OnSet. I am Daniel Norton. This is Dave. We got the amazing, no, but, I need an E word. Extraordinary Erica. I screwed it up. I didn't get ready for that one. There we go. Yeah. Frito's over there on the mixer. Seth's over here in the front judging us. And welcome. So today we're going to go through kind of the process of creating an image from a layout or from somebody else's concept. This is something that as you progress as a photographer, if you want to do it more commercially, you're going to run into a lot, right? I call it shooting for whatever I call it, advertising, whatever. That's kind of how it works, right? Somebody comes to you, they say, hey, this is what we want shot. And then you've got to look at this often terrible drawing. So I do it very realistic by giving you a terrible drawing. And analyze it and figure out, hey, how am I going to make that shot happen for these people? And it's not just about the idea of, oh, geez, how am I going to do that so that I can get a good picture? It's, how am I going to charge for this? Because like what's involved in the process, right? It's not just you go out with your camera, you shoot stuff, you come back like you do in stock photography, or if you're shooting for yourself. This is now a project, right? There might be rental equipment, there might be a studio, there could be all kinds of things involved, stylists, etc. So when you get your layout, you're going to want to analyze that, right? You got to look at it and you really think. What I normally do is I sit down and I think about the shot and I think about what is the most expensive way to do this? It sounds funny to say that, but think about every little thing that you might need, okay? Like the shots we're gonna do today are just against a very simple background, and maybe you have a studio or you have a home studio or whatever you have to do work out of, you could do it there. But still, first line item, studio rental, right? Because you might want a studio. What if you have a nice home studio that's fine for making a photo of Erica, but the client brings 8 people? Or there's a crew, you know, you got hair and makeup, so you got to think about that, right? So is the space going to be big enough? All those people are going to be there. They're going to want drinks. They're going to want food. How long is the shoot going to be? You know, do we need a separate hairstylist? Do we need makeup? You know, all these things factor in. You want to at least list those things down. In my basic kind of sheet that I use, I list everything, and then the items that I don't need, I just put NA or put a dash next to as I'm going down. So if I'm shooting a product, let's say, I just cross off makeup because I don't need a makeup artist for product shoot usually. So that's what you want to do. You want to really analyze this thing. That's what we're going to talk about a bit today. So the shots we create are not going to be the most complicated shots in the world, hopefully. We'll see. But we're going to kind of walk through the process of how I came up with the ways to shoot it in there. So casting, right? Casting's important, right? So they come to you with your picture. So I'll show you the first picture that we're going to work with. These are awesome, by the way. They're pretty phenomenal. Okay. All right. Somebody put the drink on top of it, probably me. Okay, so
very realistic. We
have our shot here, right? This is a person standing there, right? You can see what they like headphones around their neck. It's a very simple shot. Next to it, now, if this was by an actual artist, they would have maybe drawn it nicer. Sometimes they'll use stock photography to show you what they want. That's actually very common nowadays with Shutterstock and that stuff out there. They'll literally just show you a picture and be like, we want this, which we're going to do for the second shot. So they sent this out. This is basically a simple shot against a background. There's some notes over here that you probably can't read because I wrote them. You know, plain background. It would also say something like female or male, age range, possibly even hair color. They want to give you some ideas of what you're looking for, because the next thing you're going to do is set up a casting, right? We're going to have a casting so that we can see who's going to be appropriate for this. You're going to look at portfolios, you're going to do whatever you're going to do to meet these people and decide who you're going to use for your job, right? You might think that sounds like a whole lot of work for something small, but get into the practice of doing it whenever you can. A lot of times, lots of agencies, you just call them up and say, I have this project. You know, if you don't know what the agency will charge, ask them. Say, this is what we're doing, this is what it's going to be used for, what's the fee for that? Find that out before you give your invoice, because you're going to want to tell the client. Though it's generally good policy to have the client pay the model directly. because you don't want all that money passing through you if you can avoid it, because taxes and stuff, because then you got to bring it in, then bring it back out. So it's better to just have them pay the models, any talent that they can directly, because typically you're not going to be marking up the model. The reason why you put any expenses through yourself is because you're marking it up. So if I'm going to bill for a roll of seamless paper, that I can get at Adorama for $49, this might be on my thing as $80, right? That's what I'm going to do, because I want to charge $80 for it, because I got to set the thing up and I got to get it, and I'm taking the risk of getting it. If they want to show up with their own roll of paper, that's fine. But they don't want to do that. They want me to do it. They're going to pay me for it, right? Because all your time is money. So all these things need to be factored in. So this is a simple background shot. The notes that I have on it, if I can remember from 5 minutes ago when I wrote it down, plain gray background. Why? Because I knew there was only a gray background. But I actually saw a photo that I kind of copied, if you can tell. Simple lighting. They want this to look very simple. They want the background to be gray. They want the subject to be lit evenly. It's not a dramatic shot. It's a very basic shot. It's something you might see, let's say if this was in Target or something, over the headphone section, or Adorama, I guess, or whatever, with just a person standing there with the headphones on, a casual shot, right? Now, you gotta decide, okay, does that mean that I'm going to go out and buy some t-shirts or tell the model to bring a certain kind of clothes? It depends on the level of client that you have. If it's a higher end client, typically you're going to hire a fashion stylist to get the clothing for you. You might say, well, that seems like a pretty extravagant expense for t-shirts, but that's what they do, right? That's their job. They get them, they iron them, they do all that. It's one less thing that you have to deal with. You have to decide on your project if that's something you need to do. So these are all the things we're going to think about. In this case, Erica said, I'm just going to wear a dress, and I said, that's fine, because we're just showing you. I would have, if this was an actual job, we would have an array of different t-shirts for her to wear, different fits, different cuts, whites, blacks, grays. Get some colors too, just in case they suddenly go, wow, it'd be good if there was oh yeah, here's a colored t-shirt, right? You can always return things if they're not used. And then the other note is that the headphones are around her neck. They're not on her head in this photo. So we want to keep that in mind when we're shooting it. One thing that's not specifically listed on here is that we need to show anything specific about the headphones, like their logo, which is good. It's giving us a lot of freedom. This is a generic headphone shot that a company might use. Let's say a jump company like JVC, is that what it is? Yeah. JVC might use as a generic shot for their headphones, not for a specific headphone. So we get one of the type of headphones that they have. She's wearing it like this. We're not showing the model number. We're just showing headphones around the neck. Right? Does that make sense? Good. Yeah. So yeah, these headphones are ridiculously large because I like to put really large headphones on people. It's just a thing that I do. So now, I'm looking at the shot. They're saying they want a gray background. They're saying they want simple lighting. The first thing I think is I'm going to need a couple of lights, ideally, for the background to make it even, right? And I'm going to need a large light source in the front to light her up, because that's going to be the most simple way to light her. Not lots of little lights, not very hard, a specific light, not like a beauty dish. I'm going to go for something like an octagon, which I have here. And if you don't have a lot of equipment, you need to factor out what things will cost to rent, right? And you can factor that in. There's different ways everybody does their business a little bit differently. It used to be in New York, most rental places, studios wouldn't allow you to bring your own lighting, so you had to rent everything. So you would just make a list and you would charge the client for that appropriately. If it's a smaller job and you're doing it out of your home studio, you could obviously use your own equipment, but factor that into your rate. Why should you make the same as somebody who's also getting money for equipment? Think about that. It's not free, right? You bought it. So we have a 3-foot octa. Now, if you've been to any of these things before, or even if you haven't, if you ever heard anybody talk about photography that knew what they were talking about, they probably said this large light source is going to be soft. Soft meaning that the transition to the shadow areas is going to be delicate, right? It often allows you to get away with one light, although we might use a reflector, because it's going to give us all the coverage we need, right? How do I know it's soft? It's soft because it's bigger than my subject, based on its distance. So I look at Erica's head, right? That's bigger than her head, right? Yeah. Now, if I put it back there, it's not bigger than her head anymore, relatively speaking, right? So it's bigger than her head if I put it close. It's not that her head got bigger, but it's science. Okay, so we've got a big light. We're gonna light her simply. Let's light the background first, I guess. That's what we wanna do. Oh, by the way, I'll try to say all the equipment I'm using as I go. If I do not say something, ask me. I'm tethered into a MacBook. I'm using the orange cable here from Tether Tools. We're using a Canon today. This is the 1DX Mark II with a 24 to 70 lens, right? Nice and simple. tethered into capture 1. Let's light the background first, I guess.
Okay. Standing or sitting?
Let's have her stand, yeah. Now, if I'm being honest, because I'm always honest, we probably could get away with just using one light for this. Knowing how the size of the space and knowing that if I put Erica like right here, the light will also light the background, right? And if I got a light enough gray, it would probably be fine to match the photo that the client gave me. The only problem with that is this. Let's say I do that, and then the client goes, oh man, it'd be nicer if the background was darker, lighter, purple, whatever. Now I'm screwed, right? Because I only have one light and that's all I decide to use. So I'm gonna light my background separately so I have more control. That's why I'm gonna do it, even though we don't necessarily need to do it in this case. So I think we'll just throw bare heads back there. That should be fine. We don't get too fancy. We could use umbrellas, but. So we're basically gonna put 2 lights on the background. You are much better off having a light and not using it than not having it, right? So if you're renting or you're bringing equipment to a job, bring more than you think you need. This is why we do like a little lighting diagram. This is a Profoto B1X. And what I'm gonna do is point it at the background, like so. It's a battery-powered light. This is my background light, so I'm going to put it, so these Profoto lights have various zones, or groups I think they call them. And what we wanna do is put it in the C group. I always put my background lights in the C group. My key light, or the light on the face, usually is the A group. So I'm just gonna change that. I'm in channel 1, if that's okay. Yeah, why not? We're never in channel 1 anymore. So I'm in 1C. That one can also be in 1C, I guess. And we're just gonna kind of point them at the background. You can turn the modeling light to see where they fall. So you're gonna probably step on that little X on the floor that Seth made earlier for us. A little mark. I don't know. And you generally wanna cross your lights when you're lighting a background like this. So, in other words, don't point this one here and this one here, because you'll end up with a dead spot in the middle. If I cross them, we generally get more even light. We may also get a little bit of like feathered light on her hair, which could work, and I won't charge extra for that, even though I easily could. All right. Now for the foreground light, we're just gonna go with the octagon, right? Nice and simple. Do we have a sandbag? We used to have one. Ah, perfect. All right. So we're gonna take the octagon. This is a C-stand. Oh, did we not bring lights over from the store? Could you get another light for us, Seth? Light. A D2.
That one?
No, that's my B1X. These are my lights. There's no lights from the store. Usually there's... Hey guys, so obviously the delivery person is supposed to bring the lights screwed up. So this is the time where you drink coffee with the clients. There's a question.
If the client wants to replace the background with their own graphics, I assume you'd use a green screen or another solid color?
Okay, so there's a question. If the client wants to replace the background, how do we do that? Like, what, do we use a green screen? No, no green screens for photography. All right, I can hear the internet exploding right now. You generally want to use a white background if you're going to separate it. White or a light gray. The reason for that is if you use a green screen, thank you, Seth. I almost called you Dare for some reason.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Hey, baby.
I think it's Friday.
Basically, the reason why you're not going to use a green screen is because if you're cutting it out and light is coming through the hair, you're going to have green mixed in with the hair. Usually it's acceptable to have some white coming through. Worst case scenario, it usually looks natural. Yeah, so not a green screen, but white background. That's a good question. All right, so this is a C-stand. We've got a Profoto B1X. This one's in the A group. 1A. There we go. And we're gonna put a 3-foot RFI octagon on it. Just like that. So generally speaking, when lighting a female subject, I like to put my light in the center, which is what we're gonna do. I would put it in the center even if it was a male subject in this case, because that's kind of how the light needs to be to get the look that they wanted. It's going to basically pour past her. Some of it's going to hit the background, which is totally fine. We don't care. And it's going to give her a nice even light across her body, at least the part of the body that we're going to show. We're only going to shoot till about right here. How do they sound?
Sound great.
Yeah, nice.
Really great.
They sound good. Erica's a professional. She knows that whenever there's a client and you're using one of their products and they ask you about it, you should say it's great.
It's really good.
Yeah, awesome. Man, I wish I could have a pair of these. Yeah.
That's what you really said.
You could totally have them. Can I get a pair of those? You can definitely get a pair of those since they're only $40.
Amazing.
They're impressive because the ones I picked out the $300 ones. They gave me the $40 ones. I don't know what that means. They were like, you can use these ones. Thanks.
For you, $40.
For you, $40. All right, so it must be after that incident we had with it, but we won't get into that. But yeah, nice and even. Light across the front of her, 2 lights on the background. I guess let's use the light meter because I feel like it. So the shot is yep.
You have like a 3/4 body?
What do you think? Yeah,
pretty
so you can
good.
be like,
Yeah, hands hit.
yeah,
Sure.
hands on it, yeah.
Okay.
I showed her that to make sure she knew what to do. It's important. Yeah, well, let's go like a fade, I guess. What do you think? Okay, so a little quick technical thing here. Whenever you're using flash, and you only want the flash to affect your shot. So basically we want control of our shot. Like let's say that you're doing a class and a live stream and everything, so you have all these video lights on you when you're shooting. I mean, you probably won't have that situation, but you might. We want to make sure that that when we make a photo without the flash, that none of this light's affecting our shot, right? We don't want all this random light. You might have a window in your house or whatever, or a computer lamp. So we're going to set our camera so that none of the light in the space affects our shot. The way that we do that is we set our ISO at the lowest normal ISO, which is 100 in the case of this camera. We set our shutter speed at its maximum synchronization speed, which is 250th of a second in the case of this camera. And then for the aperture, it's going to really depend on how bright it is in the space. Now, I know that I want a decent amount of depth of field on this anyway, so I'm going to start at f8 just to see. You could also use a meter and you'll figure it out. What you want is an underexposed picture. You want basically a black frame to start with. So let's just start at f8. And we'll see what we get. If the frame is black, then we can be happy. Otherwise, we'll mess around. Cool. Any questions so far? Does that make sense? Hey! Give me some bronze colors. This is Jim from Hasselblad Braun. I want one of those shirts, though. Nobody ever gives me a shirt. I want a Hasselblad shirt. Can you hook me up? Hasselblad shirt. May I have your shirt? Okay. All right, perfect. Oh, no, not perfect. I think I see something.
Do you?
Or is that dirt on my screen?
That's dust on your screen.
That is dust on my screen. I do not see anything. There's a completely black frame. That means none of the light in the space is affecting our shot. Now we need to set our flash to give us the proper exposure. All right, here we go. I've got the light meter. This is a Sekonic 308XUV3782. All right, so, no, that last part I made up. I'm gonna set my ISO at 100. I'm gonna set my shutter speed at 250. I'm in non-corded flash mode, which means that Dave has to push the button. And I'm going to basically read on the background first, because I want to get f8 back here. I'm gonna stay out of the flash. You can also get low to do this, but someday Dave will press it.
Yeah. This is all.
There we go. 8.4. Turn me down a couple tenths there. We used to do this when we were on Sykes. We used to do this thing. This is what the rope's for, by the way. Okay, you ready? You ready? Okay, I did it terribly, so that doesn't count. Okay, so 8, perfect. Now, that really is 8, 8-1. See, that's how we do it. Now, the background's going to be properly exposed, and now we got to check on her grill. That is only F2. Is that one on?
It is, but it's all the way down.
Cool. Four, 7. So I'm just saying random numbers to Dave. 8, 8, 8. That was a lot.
Okay, so
It's almost a stop down. It's important when you have clients around to say like lots of numbers and things. They don't know what's going on. It confuses them. You can charge more.
what was it?
All right, that was 8-1. And it's 8-1 on the back too, so that's perfect. So we are now even. We're on exposure. In theory, this is going to be great, right? Because she's f8 lit, the camera set at f8, the background's at f8, we want gray. So let's see what it looks like.
Could you place one light behind your model to light the background directly behind her?
Could I place one model directly behind the model? No. Could I place one? I could place a model behind that. Could I place a light behind the model to light the background? I could. It would not be as even. And if you watch the last demo, we did that and it wasn't as even. If you want even, so you can see all the wrinkles properly, okay. I can even them with this. It's not completely even. Let's see. This is going to give us a bit of a more even shot. You can do it with one light if you'd like. Although the exposure seems fine. It's just a bit dark in that corner. Oh, wrong button. Okay.
Part of that might be that.
This one.
I think the wrinkle.
Yeah, the wrinkle is definitely there. We're going to live with the wrinkle because they only give us one roll of paper a year here. And yeah, such is life.
Actually, keep the shadow.
Yeah, it's a shadow from the wrinkle. It's a wrinkly shadow. All right, you want to use a new roll of paper. Don't be cheap. All right.
What if a client asks for a full body on pure white and I only have two lights, one big umbrella with subject right against the background?
Okay. Where in the background?
Yeah. It's just brighter on one side than the other.
It is brighter on one side. It's brighter on that side.
And it's closer to the background.
All right, so we're just making our background even. Okay, try that. So now we're tweaking. This is why we shoot tethered, right? Basically, we're tethered into the computer. We're looking at each shot and we're analyzing it. That looks pretty good. All right, now we're even. She looks pretty decent. Now we're gonna bring, if we had a stylist in, if we had anything else, now we get the basic exposure. Now we're gonna start asking the client, you know, hey, is this okay, whatever. I think I do want to add a reflector. I think it's a little bit too shadowy for me on her face. So there is a question online about if you only have two lights and you need to get a white background. My recommendation is get more lights. No, but I did a video on this. I can't do it now because we're in the middle of something, but if you go back, there's a video called, do you remember what that video is called where I make the background white using one light? What's that video called?
That's probably the name of it.
That's probably it.
Well, it's also
It's distance to subject to background is what it's called. If you watch that video, it's probably like from almost a year ago. I explain how to get the background white with only one light. Yes?
Just selecting the exposure on the background.
I could do that, but it's not going to be as even. Right, exactly. You could just blow the background out, which we also did last week, which is the other thing. But that's not exactly the same as shooting somebody on a clean white background. That is overexposing the background. Especially in a full-length shot, you usually don't want to do that. Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay, so since this is an advertising job and we're getting paid more, we're going to set up stands. We're basically going to put a reflector in to fill in on the bottom to give her shadows, fill in her shadows a little bit. I think also, even though we don't need to show the brand, I think we might want to just maybe go flat. Oh, they don't go flat. No, I love these like this.
Yeah, we're fine.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah, unless I did like this.
No, it's fine. We'll do that in the next one.
Not the product shape.
I'll stick with my first rule.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
That is the wrong one.
This one.
We're building a table here. We're not planking. Planking is a whole different thing. You know what planking is? You know what planking is, right? Yes.
If you don't want hair lights, couldn't you put the background lights up high and shoot down?
This is the face I'm making to that question online. If I don't want a hair light, can I put the lights up high and point down? There's no hair light. None of the light is affecting her hair right now, so I don't know why you're asking that question. But you can certainly light the hair, you can certainly light the background from the middle, sure. That's actually would be the preferred method if you only had one light. Instead of sticking it behind them, you're better off going above them and shooting down with it. Actually, Broncolor, see, you just left. Broncolor makes a great reflector. It's called the 120-degree reflector. And it's exactly for that. It's for putting one light behind the subject and lighting the background evenly. So if you guys want to do that, get a Broncolor 120-degree.
Ready. Doing it.
Ready?
Oh yeah, I'm not touching
No. Yeah, this is like, buy my headphones. Right? All right. Any questions, thoughts, concerns? Oh, yeah, filled it in a little bit. She's selling those headphones? Yes, sir.
Lower the light a little bit more when we get more light because the headphones are blocking the reflection of the light, right?
Okay, so the question is, if we lower the light, would it get more coverage? Maybe, but it'll also start to get in front of the lens. Yeah, the headphones are the main part of the shot. You don't like the headphones? This is a headphone ad, sir.
Making this part like a lot of shadow.
Yeah. Here's the thing. He's saying he's not liking the amount of shadow that's coming on the edges of the headphones. It's natural. There's different ways to get rid of it. Based on the layout that we want to do, though, we like that. But if they suddenly changed their mind and wanted there to be less shadow there, we could either lower the light to make it flatter. We could add a secondary light here. We could try to bounce a little bit more light into it. We could probably even tip this down more to get more light onto it. So there's lots of ways that we could tweak it if you want a little less shadow there, because, you know, I'm good like that. You know, this is just like a real job where the client changes their mind at the last minute and they're like, oh, no, we want this. All right. Yeah, so we're bouncing a little bit. We might even want to tip this a little bit more to get more reflection. We'll try it first. The thing is this, I think this is now not exactly this subject, but what you want to think of when you're like doing photography and lighting and stuff is elimination of all shadows is not necessarily a good thing. In fact, it's almost always a bad thing, in my mind. Now, if you have a client that wants no shadow, then that's fine. They're paying you to do what you want. Put a ring flash on there. You'll have no shadow. It'll look terrible. The thing is, the shadow is what creates shape, right? So we want shadow. What we don't want is to lose detail. So if we go in here, right, and we see that the headphones do, in fact, have detail, right? I have detail in my blacks, which means that that's the way they look, right? To get no shadow on her would create a very, very flat image that's not going to be very attractive, in my opinion. So we're not going to do that. But we can bounce a little more light in. Jared, do it? No, tilt this one a little bit more. We'll fix it a little bit, though, just because that's what you want. Although this is actually a very good point, because a big part of this, too, comes down to the idea that you're the photographer, right? And somebody's hired you to make a photo. They're going to start saying things exactly like that, right? And then you have to be able to say, I mean, I'm not saying to BS people, but, you know, like I know, and this is why we're not going to do it, because I don't have another light to do it, but if I just completely flatten this out, it's not going to look, it'll just look completely flat. If I start adding too much light from the bottom, you're going to possibly start getting reflections going up, shadows going up, which is not going to look very good. If I use a really flat light, it's not going to have the dynamicism. Dynamicism? I just made that up. Yeah, you lose dimensionality. I mean, there's a lot of things. Yeah, we're also getting highlights on the headphones. There's so many things going on here. So that we're trying to produce. So, you know, maybe we'll do a session just on completely flat light one day for you. You'll come back, we'll do that. All right, see, look how nice that looks with the hair change. All right, you gotta love it. All right, so, by the way, I almost forgot. Shout out, you know, that's what supposed to remind me. Shout out to Jim, who sent me, this is Jim Cave, thanks Jim Cave, who sent an entire bag of Charleston chews. Now I'm just gonna say,
Frito, switch to camera one.
Frito, switch to camera one. I'm just gonna say that there's a lot of Charleston chews here, and if you want to try to outdo Jim, every flavor. We got chocolate Charleston chews, we got strawberry Charleston chews, we got vanilla Charleston chews. So yeah, I'm gonna be very fat now. Thank you, Jim.
You're going to.
Okay, love handles.
That was good.
All right, so, all right, so that's it, right? Nice and simple. We'll shoot a lot of exposures to get exactly the thing we want. We'll change it up if we want more fill, less fill. I think that's pretty good, though. Maybe try some different poses. Maybe like hold them and yeah, that kind of stuff. We'll shoot a few. We'll work it. You guys say like, work it. Questions, thoughts, concerns? Yeah, and we left some room for words. If you guys hadn't figured that out yet. Yeah. She loves the headphones. I love these headphones. Buy some. Yeah. Okay. That was the first one. We flew through that. We are experts. All right, so you're going to love this next one because it's even more shadowy. I think we're going completely in the wrong direction for you today. I'm sorry. Actually, I did make it up. All right, so this is our first layout. Nice and simple, really easy, right? In addition to this, we've got a second one, right? For this one, by the way, the drawing on this one is exceptional. Exceptional. Okay. So, we've basically got, it's actually a dude, but I'm not a different model for this. And it's a sideways shot. It's heavily shadowed from the top. We want to create something a lot more moody because these are like studio headphones, right? Like somebody might be in the studio using them. We want to create a little depth. This is maybe a little more advertising-ish. So we're going to actually do more of like a top light, right? That's not a beard, it's a shadow.
It looks like a beard.
I know. And overhead light shadows, right? Logo lit. So we know now that we want to show the logo on the headphones. We know this is going to be a profile shot. And we know that we want it to be a little more shadowy. So we're going to start off, and this one, the background can go any way we want. I think we'll leave one light on the background just to give us a little separation back there. And then what we'll do is we'll use, maybe, let's see. They've left that open to us, but let's start with the initial lighting, which is going to be overhead. And I think it still needs to be soft. So one reason why I chose the light that I did was that it's more versatile, right? I can just use this overhead. I can like tip it. But I also got a smaller light just to try it. So let's try the small light first, which is this one. I shouldn't say light, I should say modifier. This is a 1 foot by 3 foot. No, this is a 1 foot by 1.3 foot little baby softbox. This guy is going to, it's roughly the size of her head, so it's going to be a bit harder of a light, but we're going to put it nice and close and kind of above. So I think I'm going to have you work this way. Yeah, can we do that?
Yeah, perfect.
Let me kill this, like, start your
But these don't.
Yeah, let's
you
kill
want
that guy.
to do something cute, like they don't move, like they don't turn.
No, just put them on.
Oh,
Yeah, the picture is with them all on. So,
so big.
yeah, they're gigantic. Yeah. So basically, we're going to do like a sideways picture with the headphones on. Yeah, exactly. And you're going to be like this way, more or less. Yeah, almost complete profile. And we're going to light her kind of top lit. And we're going to play around a little bit. So, of course, the client says they want shadowy, but they might change their mind later. So by putting the light like this versus putting it directly over her head, I'll take some shots with her looking up. That way I get light on her face. So if later they're like, oh my God, there's no light on her face, I'll have it. Because I'm planning ahead. All right, so this one, of course, if I decide to use this as my key light, I'm going to change it to the A group. Because my key light, sorry. If you're going to ever hit a model with a light, you should do it with the softbox because the softbox is, in fact, soft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is A now?
A now.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
I need like a mic so I
So
can
this is
kind of
a
like
whole
in
new
the
setup.
studio.
Yeah. Whole new setup. This is one's going to be, yeah, that's pretty nice. You're going to be like, yeah, but try with chin down too, because that's kind of more moody. We hate the original idea. I'm going to have chin up because it looks better on her. And we're going to establish our first shot. So this is going to be single light, group A. Let's turn off C, I guess. Let's just use TTL for this one. For this one, we're going to use TTL. So these Profoto lights have the ability to do something called Ttl Metering, which means it's going to use the camera's meter to set the exposure, or it's going to try anyways. So we're going to set the device in TTL. We're going to set up our framing, and we're going to take a photo and see what it looks like. We're keeping our exposure the same. We're still 2/50th of a second. We're still f8. We're still 100 ISO. Okay. As predicted, it's overexposed. Sometimes that happens when you have a lot of space around or when you're using a Canon. So basically, we can set it in manual, and we'll just dial it into where we want it. So that's about a stop or so overexposed, I think. If you're not sure, you can go into Capture One. Again, another reason to be tethered. And I can grab my exposure slider, and bring it down till it looks good, probably about right there. And that is a 1.5 stops. So we can now dial our light down to 1.5 stops. That's a second way to get your exposure. See that? That's bonus, guys. I wasn't even going to teach you that today, but I decided because I'm nice. I'm a nice guy like that.
Can you set up the background just in case the client wants to do a cutout and change the background?
Would I set up a background because the client might want to do a cutout? No. I would have that discussion with them, and I would say, hey, if you think you're going to want to cut this out, we'll have to take an extra shots for that, and that's going to cost you blank amount more money. I don't just automatically do it every time. That would just be a waste of time. Yeah, it's almost always, in fact, I'm going to say always. See, I said almost always, so I was trying to be nice. It's always best to get it in camera if you can. So unless they want Hawaii in the background or something like that they're not going to fly us to, I want to get it in camera. If they want a brick wall back there, I'm going to get a fake brick wall. Like I want to put behind them what is going to be behind them in the photo. I want to finish it in camera whenever I can. The idea of like constantly cutting stuff out might seem easy, but that's just not what you want to do. Otherwise, they would use stock photography. They're hiring you to produce an image. So, yeah, you know, I would only do. Oh wow, that's actually kind of nice. I'm kind of liking this box. Seth recommended this box, by the way. It's on Seth's recommended box list. Okay, so this is pretty decent as far as mood, but we're not seeing the headphones very much or the logo. So let's get, no, you're perfect. It's not because of you. You're actually absolutely perfect. Now we're gonna add another light with a grid.
I can't hear you.
I think sound
Very
canceling.
noise canceling.
Yeah, so we need my tall bag. That one has the grids in it. Or it should anyways. I pulled the bag out of the studio. I assume it has all my stuff in it. I actually did not look.
Never know.
God only knows what's in this thing. It's probably got my stuff in it. Yeah. It is like a pillow. All right, this is not that. Oh, look. I have a 3-foot Pro Photo Octa. I didn't have to borrow one from this. Oh, they're gonna hate me. All right. My grids. There we go. All right, so luckily this is only a small, tight shot, so we can leave all that crap on the floor. This is the ProPhoto OCF grid set. Grid is going to narrow our field of view. We want to just more or less light the headphones, so I'm going to put the tightest one on there, which I believe is 5 degrees. And we're going to hit these headphones with a little bit of light, just to bring the logo up. Okay. Yeah, that should be good. Questions, thoughts, concerns? No?
This really is the left, but it has the ugly string.
It does have an ugly string.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's better.
Yeah. This is a good point. Yes. Yeah, we're still at F8. I know, it's crazy, right? Generally speaking, when you're doing stuff in the studio, you kind of don't want to change the camera settings until, well, I mean, this is between setups, so I guess I could have, but once I'm set at someplace, I usually leave it. I think it'll be enough depth of field, but we are going to check it, so that's a good question. We might want to go F11 on this because we want to be able to read the logo. Yeah, we're going to turn that way down. That might even still be too bright.
You're wearing a Wisconsin shirt.
I am, Wisconsin.
I'm from there.
Cheese. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't go from Wisconsin.
Wild card.
If you guys ever want to know. Okay. Yep. Yeah, we're trying to get it off the face as much as possible. We can get a little spark on the hair, a little spark on the headphones.
Love a sparkle.
A little sparkle. She's like, okay, that's a little hot. Can we feather it? Okay, so the reason why I'm feathering the light here, and you guys probably seen me feather the light before, is because it's all about angles at this point, right? If we're hitting the shiny headphone straight on, we don't want it blasting back at us. We want to just kind of phase over it. So it's also way too bright. So is that turned down all the way?
It was.
Yeah, so we may have to go.
Yeah, something.
All right, If it's too bright, we may have to now adjust our camera. Just for that reason. Forget about depth of field. We might just have to because our light's too bright. I guess that's a problem to have, right? We're going to feather and dial. Yeah, exactly. It's going to take a combination of things.
Yeah, can you get right there?
Remain perfectly still.
Let's see. Okay.
Okay. And then what we can also do is have her turn her face in various directions to control that angle. This is why it's nice to have the modeling light. Okay. Now I think we just need a little more power. I think we're a smidge dark. Yeah, probably just a matter of turning it.
I can
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just worried
Just a smidge.
the shininess of those things.
Yeah.
We might need to go softer with.
Yeah, we may need to switch to a different modifier, right? The grid gives us a nice tight control. It's my first thing I would come to. No, I think that's pretty good. I think we just need a little more juice in it. I don't mind if the edge of the headphone gets a little bit bright because that feels very natural, right? Oh, all of a sudden I got really big. Yeah, so we're giving it a little more power. More power. Yeah, I think that's going to be okay. We might put something like a flag or something in there, but we'll deal with that in a second. Let's see with both lights. What's that? I could do that. Why would I want to do that? No. That's a good question, but I don't think that would work. And plus, you get paid by how many lights you use, so I don't want to do everything with one light. No. Okay, I like it, except let's fix her hair. And I also feel like she needs to be. So what we're getting one kind of particularly hard, like glow, and then we have one like softer. What I might want to do is get gaffer's tape. Did he tell you that it's random stuff that I'm just going to ask for continuously? Yeah. Thanks. I'm going to go easy on it. There we go. This is not terrible, but it's not exactly what I want. So what I want to do is I'm going to use the gaff tape to maybe feather this off even more. Or maybe we should put some diffusion on it. But I feel like it might scatter if we do that. So let's start by doing it this way.
It's shiny.
Go ahead and get into your position. Yeah, this comes down to one of those things where you're photographing something shiny, it's going to be shiny, right? So embrace the shine. Is that helping?
No.
That's not helping?
What metering mode is the camera set at?
What metering mode is the camera set at? That is a good question.
It is set up
Probably
manual?
centered. Well, if it, we're not using the TTL anymore, but it was.
Center focus.
No. Isn't they're talking about metering because we were using TTL earlier, but we switched to manual. Try that.
The value is the
Yeah.
TTL.
Okay. All right, so we're getting this we want this pop of light across it, but we just don't want to lose too much detail. Okay, that's too much.
The arm is a little distracting.
That's all the detail.
Yeah, bring your head this way slightly.
I'm like,
Yeah, get her where she needs to be. There we go.
try that.
What are you saying for you?
The arm is a little distracting. 50% there.
The arm is distracting. She can move her arm if she wants.
Cut it off.
Drop your arm. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
That's it. Okay, so now let's try one without your arm because people online are picky. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, well, now we can work the pose now that we got it. You know what, though? I want a little bit of light on the background. That's fantastic. But let's get some light on the background. Now the arm is gone. Dave photoshopped it out really quickly. Okay, let's throw a light on the background. Let's make the background have some light. Yeah, let's just go bare head. Why not?
Color gel?
Let's do a colored gel. That's a good idea, Dave.
Love a gel.
We all love a colored gel. I do not have a chocolate gel, unfortunately. I know. I do love a chocolate gel. I do have chocolate and strawberry and vanilla Charleston chews. Okay. I mean, if you would cut one for me. So.
Oh, actually, you know what? Oh, you want to do cut gels?
Well, I can put any gel on there.
I got a whole stack behind you on top of the shelf.
That feels like a lot of work. We'll use a cut gel. Actually, I might have chocolate. Is that chocolate? No.
That.
Is it? I think it might be, yeah. Ha-ha!
It's urban vapor.
Yeah, I think it is urban vapor, actually. It's something. Here's a gel.
It would be more green if it was.
Yeah. It might be urban, whatever the other one is.
Industrial vapor.
Industrial vapor. No, but I think it might be chocolate. It's hard. It looks dark for chocolate, but I could be wrong. All right. Whenever you cut gels, you should probably write on them what they are. Do as I say, not as I do. All right, so we're warming it up in the background. Giving her a little something, Questions? Does it make sense? Yes.
If you dump you have a grid still on there, right?
Yes, there is the grid.
So if you dump the grid and try and diffuse it, see if you can get an even on JVC.
Well, if I just switched to, if I take the grid off, the light will get all over her whole face. Well, the light itself is 120 degree spread, and that's a 5-degree grid. So if I take it off, it's going to cover her whole face. Yeah, we could add diffusion to the grid. You can do that. Oh. Oh my God. All right. Excuse me. All right. Here we go. Good. All right. All right. So that's a napkin.
It's diffusion.
We're diffusing the light with a napkin. Oh, well, we missed it altogether, though. She has to turn. I think it worked, though. Look at you with the napkin. Yeah, we need a little more juice, and also the background light is still too dark. Oh, you haven't used it yet? Okay. Yeah, we've added the gel. We've added our gel, the napkin gel. So now it is. We've lost some light, of course. Yeah. I was reading the napkins and, oh, nice, premium quality. No, I have gels. I just was being a wise guy. All right, that looks pretty good. Well done. There we go. So I've taken my very expensive light and put a napkin on it, and it worked. So JVC looks good. She looks pretty decent. Maybe we'll work chin up a smidge so we can get the nice brown in your eyes up, and then let's get the background going. You want to put an actual gel on it? All right, fine. Well, I don't have any diffusion gel cut. We'd have to cut it. All right. What do you got?
It's tissue paper.
No. We want a real gel. Dave's saying we can't use that.
We can.
This is supposed to be a pro shop. No, I gotcha. Roscoe After Dark.
They're mixed up, so.
Oh.
But they're,
Oh, this one has
there
tough
is a
silk.
diffusion.
I feel like tough silk is a good way to describe Erica, so we'll use that one.
That's nice. I like that.
Right? You like that? They call me Tough Silk. I should have probably seen which number it was before I did this. Tough Silk is 3011. All right. Thanks for tuning in to watch me go through gels. Very exciting. All right. Could you have pulled the Tough Silk out? Is that what happened? I don't know. I'm not seeing any Tough Silk, Roscoe.
I mean, everybody's been using those pads, so I don't know.
Oh, hold on. Here's some diffusion. Could it be here? Ah, there it is. 3011. I'm sorry to have doubted you ever, Roscoe. Okay. Oh. So the reason why I'm using a silk gel, by the way, is it's all fun and games until I have to explain something. So if you look at a silk gel, you see I don't know how you can see it there. You see how there's lines in it? So what the silk gel actually does on some level, it's not extreme, it's not like using barn doors, but it actually does help direct the light slightly. So since we want a narrow beam of light, I'm gonna put it this way, and it should help not spread the light out to the side too much. It's not magic. It's not, like I said, it's not like using a barn door, but it does do it a bit. And do you have a flashlight? I'm just...
You're not good enough.
No, okay. I don't know, I tried. Cell phone.
Really?
Cell phone flashlight, come on. You gotta be prepared, man. I just do random stuff. There we go, there we go. So, right? Is that working? Can you see it? I can't see myself. So yeah, see how that's doing that? Right? Versus that. See the difference? You saw that, right? You saw the difference? I'm not just messing around here. Believe it or not. I said I was going to drop the mic, but it's your phone, so I won't do it. Okay, so it's important that I showed that, and the reason why is because it's a little counterintuitive, because when you want the light to be up and down, you need to put the gel side to side. So you're thinking like this is like this way is the way you want to make it narrow, but you actually want to make it that way. So we're going to do that. That should help. It's probably still going to spread a lot more than when I just put the other stuff on there. We'll try it though. We're getting fancy here. We're doing it. We're doing gels. We charge the client for that. All right. We got gels. We got diffusion. We got Frito. How you doing over there? You doing all right? Dropping some beat? We need sound effects. Can we get sound effects?
No, we don't. No, we don't.
Doing. Oh. Ooh.
You got Daniel shot Daniel.
All right, so that's pretty good with the diffusion. See that? I don't do anything until people in the audience make me do it. All right, that looks pretty good though. I'm just checking my sharpness. We have detail. I mean, we're blowing out a smidge here, but that's natural, so I'm okay with that. But we can read all that. Okay, so she's a bit soft on the eyes when you're focused at. Yeah, exactly. So let's close down a bit. We're at F8. Let's go to like, yeah, let's go to 11 or 16 maybe. Let's go to 16. If we have enough juice, which I think we should. I don't know what this light's set at. So we're going to bring all our lights up 2 stops. Oh, we're at 5.8. Okay, so bring all of our lights up 2 stops, and then we're going to shoot at F16.
7, 8.
Okay. So once you've got your ratios in place, you can start messing with that, right? Good. But I will point this out, no matter how much depth of field you give yourself, there's always only one spot that's actually in focus. That's just the way it is. So you got to it's a compromise, you know. It'll be sharp enough, but it's never going to be as sharp on our eyes as it is on the JVC if that's where we're focused. But it should be pretty sharp. Yeah, it's pretty sharp. It's Canon sharp. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty decent. I can live with that. All right, so I feel like our background's still a bit dark. Did we never turn that on? Yeah. All right, one thing at a time, one day at a time, which I guess they brought back. Yeah, isn't that weird? Apparently they brought it back. Has anybody seen it yet? Because I heard that they brought it back. Is it good? Does anybody even know what one day at a time is? You guys, all right, I'm going. Great show, Schneider. Kind of reminds me of you. You wore a lot of white t-shirts.
This is my 3rd one today.
Yeah, that's all it took to get that song stuck in my head.
That is very, very sweet. Let's bring it up.
Yeah, we're not getting much out of that. It looks pretty good though, huh? You're doing a good job.
Thank you.
They look good on you.
Yeah, well,
You're like a headphone model.
doing my very best.
She gives it her best.
Anything for you.
Oh, chocolate. All right, I think that's decent. I would go chin up and be happier. Otherwise, decent.
My chin up?
Chin up and be a little happier.
Happier?
I think a little bit, right? Chin up and happier. You don't think so?
Love these headphones.
You like?
It's gonna be easy.
They're pretty good. JVC. I used to have a JVC radio in my car. Aftermarket. Nice. It had like the CD player you could like pull out and take with you.
Fancy box.
No, you shouldn't be happy.
Should we raise that at all? Or
The position of it or the power?
power?
The background?
I guess both, yeah, the background.
I think the background could be a little bit brighter, yes. I also think, but I think we can make it brighter by putting it closer to the background because I kind of want more of a yeah, I want a little bit of a narrower burst of light.
You want it to just be like so halo, right?
Halo. And I think that you're talking about the video game.
I'm sorry?
The video game, Halo. Is that a video game?
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I like how you talk about something and then you ask if what you're talking about even exists.
Well, I just want to make sure that I just did that right.
I forgot about Halo.
That was the one we were on like a spaceship.
Oh, that's that one. Oh, that one video game.
That one video game we were on a spaceship shooting things.
There's only one. It's like that one superhero movie.
Which one? It's a wise guy. They got a wise guy here. All right, so now we've added a little flavor. And the cool thing about using the gel is that we can actually switch it out if we want more neutral. But you know, her hair being nice and warm in color, she has beautiful brown eyes. Like the song by Jackson Brown. Yes. Okay, we got it. All right, and that's pretty decent. And she's happy. If you're happy and you know, yeah. That is almost exactly the color of your eyes. Well done, Dave. Okay, questions, thoughts, concerns? That was even faster than the first one. There is not a grid in that one. I didn't have any more grids I left at the studio. All right, so you know what we might want to do? Let's add a little reflector here.
Yes.
Just because. Now, it's going to be tricky because this light is not exactly all over the place, but let's see. I'll just hold it.
Here again, goodbye, hearing.
This has her script on there.
Does. I love my JVC headphones so much.
JVC is great.
So that means that's it. And the reflector is in the shop.
See how I hold it with one hand like that? Years of practice.
Tune up a tiny bit.
Oh, you know what we have?
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. That's actually kind of neat. Kind of better for you because you don't like shadows, right? You do like that better. So I knew you would. I did that for you. I'm going to do something. I'm breaking. We're off course a little bit, but I don't care. So I got something in here that I saw and I was going to bring up, but it didn't have anything to do with the shoot. But I'm going to do it anyways. Oh, that's right. That's it. Let's show it again. That's right. That is a Flex G. That's actually Frito's name when he DJs. Flex G. You want to see Flex G at the club on Saturday?
I have a prediction that this will not be good.
Okay.
All right. Dave's predicting it's not going to be good. I just want to use it because I like it. Nobody uses Flex G anymore.
Where do you need me back?
You also probably aren't going to see what your reflecting lights with the model on.
That's correct. I can't turn it on because I can't reach it. No. No, it reflected. There you go. It worked. Look at how awesome that is. Flex G.
He was right.
That kind of worked. So there you go. Eat it. People who said it wasn't going to work. I don't know, though. You don't seem as impressed. You like the other one better? Yeah.
It is quite good. The
Aha.
question is going to remind you.
Okay.
Instead of moving the light, would the scooter grid be better? It is good.
Which one? The background?
I think the.
Oh. Okay, yeah, so if there's a question about moving the light versus a Snoot or a grid, it depends on what you're doing. In this case, this light actually does have a grid on it. And the reason why we're moving is because we're changing the angle of incidence. Because the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflectance. Which means that we don't want a hot spot, so we're going to move the light so we get a different reflection, right? Because light goes in a straight line, right? So if we don't want to blast back in our lens, we have to tweak it. So that's why we're moving this one. This one, we could have just added a grid to do a similar effect, but when you can just move the light a foot closer, why bother? I needed to do two things. I wanted it to be brighter and I wanted it to be more narrow. So that did it for me. Using an extra piece of equipment is not always necessary. Plus, I already have the grid kit out. I'm already charging for it, so I don't have to use it. I'm already just going to have it. But yeah, the grid in the background would have worked. But this we're doing because of the angle. Also, I don't think the gold did anything, even though I want to say that it did. I'm sad that it didn't do anything. All right. Turn on the modeling light so we can see it. OK, that's fine. Let's do it. All right, guys, Flex G in effect, in full effect.
I'm going to go vertical.
Oh, we're going vertical.
Okay. Just switching things up here on me, Dave.
I don't know. Oh, no, I can see it. She's getting all gold there.
Wow.
Look at you all gold.
Yeah, it bounces slightly in the shot, so we'll just go with it.
There we go. Flex G in the funky bunch. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Yeah, that looked pretty good, actually. All right. Questions? Thoughts? How come you got such a tall chair? That's pretty awesome. All right. We're killing it. Okay, so we got it, right? We've already achieved the job. We're making the money. We're collecting the thick stacks. Right? It's thick stacks. Is that how you say it? Thick stacks. Yeah, we're getting the thick stacks. And then the client says, hey, you know what? Oh, you doing something else? Did we get it? Are you done? Okay. The client's like, I saw this other thing, which they always say.
I do.
Can you do this? So I pulled out my can you do this picture.
I do this.
All right, so they saw that their competitor, Skull Candy, which makes decent headphones, but honestly, I've had 3 pairs and they break. I wouldn't buy them. But they look cute and they're super cheap, which is why they break. Okay, so Skull Candy has this for their ad. It's a girl yelling. However, that's not all there is to it. It is a double exposure or a double pop, it looks like. So they're like, can you do this? And of course I can do it.
More money.
For more money, exactly. So, more money, more money, more money. So we can do a double exposure. We're going to do it better, though. Instead of just copying them and doing that, because that'd be easy, we'll keep our position, but we'll do a double exposure. So we're going to drag the shutter, and we're going to pop the flash twice, right? Is that the best way to do it?
Profile you?
Yeah, let's do it just like this. I was going to do exactly that shot, but I decided that I don't feel like changing it back. Unless you want to do it that way. Let's see if this works first. So she's going to go like this. And we're going to go pop, pop with the flash.
Love it.
That's it. Rock and roll.
Rock and roll, baby. Do you want the hands on the hers like her thing?
Yes. Hands on the thing, even though people online don't like it. But guess what? You're not here. Okay? Maybe cheat the face slightly this way so we can see your grill. And then we might have to move the light too. All right. We're going to probably care less about getting the logo in this one because because she's got her hands on it. So no, it's fine because we don't have to worry about lighting the logo because her hand's going to be on there. See, I'm being slick. So we want to get our base exposure. Now we're double exposing, which means that we have to figure out all our lighting for that, right? It's going to get shot twice. So, but let's just do a single exposure first.
Ready?
Yep. It's like you're listening to some Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah, okay, we need less hair in her face.
Oh, sorry.
You're so happy. That's like happy Ozzy Osbourne. That's like Joan Osborne. All right. Now try one with your chin up further. Yep. Your hands are so tiny.
Yeah, because these things are massive.
Yeah. She's got the smallest hands ever. No, like up a lot. Go like,
Want to go back?
yeah, throw your head back. Because we got to get double exposure. Yeah, do it more 3/4.
More than her? Right here?
Yeah, maybe like, there we go. So, walking through the process, there we go. That is perfect. Now we just need to double pop that. So, what you're going to do is, would you rather move the camera? What do you think is better for you? I think moving the model is easier sometimes, but sometimes moving the camera is better. You can kind of decide that when you're doing it, right? Now, some cameras have a double exposure capability, so you can literally just take 2 pictures. I think this camera might do that, but I've yet to go through the menus yet. So, because we don't know, we're just going to do it the way that I know how to do it, which is we're going to pop the flash twice. Okay. All we have to do is lengthen our exposure so that we have enough time to fire the flash twice, right? So basically when Dave shoots the camera, the flash is going to fire. And then if you press the test button on top of the little remote, it will fire again. So we can get 2 flashes. We don't need that much time. Dave's pretty fast. One thing, we're now at F16, right? We're going to go to a quarter of a second. We might have to turn off the lights in here to do this, so don't get scared. We're going extreme levels here on you, Frida. Let's see what happens first. No, that's pretty good. What's going to happen is we can see her a little bit, which means it's going to have a little blur to it. But I think for this, that might be okay.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
Yeah.
You'll be like,
I'll give you a little bit of a touch angle.
okay. Is she going to move or are you going to move?
I can move.
Oh, she's going to move. All right, there you go.
Yeah, you just like to move forward.
All right, this is a very advanced technique here. Okay, we'll do it though with the, that's perfect, but with the flash next time. Yeah, although I really like that one. I mean, if this was a Sony, we could just go in here and just brighten it up, but we don't have a Sony. That felt, nope, okay, try it again. Do you want me to do the second pop?
It
Or
was
you got
really
it?
high up in power, so
Yeah.
try it again. It might be better if you
If I do it?
ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's enough.
They're not fast enough, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
We have to.
no, we should be able to do it.
That's like a half second. I can just go to a half second.
We got it.
Let me do that real quick.
Switch to half a second. We're gonna switch to half a second. We're gonna try it again. Also, the power of the flash can probably come down a bit because we gotta,
Yeah.
but let's just see.
Leave it.
So we're gonna pop, pop.
You ready?
Nope, too slow. All right. You got a blur, but you didn't get a pop. Let me do the second one because it seems like it's
Oh,
more
you know
different.
what? Actually, what if we switch it to the rear curtain? Second curtain, and then I hit it.
Okay. Oh, at the same time, you take the picture. Okay.
Yeah, let me try that.
All right, we're gonna try rear curtain sync. Why? Because every time we do this, somebody asks, what would happen if you use rear curtain sync? Okay. Too fast that time. We need her to move quicker. So basically, what you got to do is be ready, and when he goes to shoot, you're gonna.
In a half second, we start seeing infiltration too.
Yep.
But we can lower the power.
We're gonna drop the power on the lights. This is all a balancing act. We drop the power on the lights, 1 stop. Why 1 stop? Because 1 stop is half the amount of light. Since we're firing it twice, right? 1 stop.
I was hoping to go more Dutch, but
You don't have to go super Dutch. We don't have to go crazy Dutch.
Go Argentinian.
I have a better, yeah.
I can't do this up on here when it's gone. It doesn't work anymore.
I will do it.
Take it off the camera completely.
Yeah, and just pop it twice.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, you just-
All right.
you just have to do it.
All right. This is very exciting. I'm going to do it. I'm a little nervous to do it, though. Maybe I should give it to one of you guys. Oh, all right. All right.
So I'm pressing it before.
When he takes the
or
picture,
after he-
when he takes the picture, you got to press it twice within. Yep.
You have a half second to get it twice.
You have to move it.
You have to hit it twice.
You might want to come to here, the shutter.
Yeah.
Come forward to be judged. Although I got to be honest, I don't mind the blur either. That's kind of cool. All right. But I don't want to steal the pop and blur.
Do you want to just go at it? Like, I'll just.
Yeah.
All right, ready? And go for it.
Okay, that was a lot of pops.
That was too fast.
You did, and none of them happened during the exposure.
Before the exposure.
Yeah.
You went fast.
Okay, so-
That was good.
Yeah, that was good, but just
All right. But on time.
we'll coordinate this, guys. We're pros.
Just want to go put the camera to shoot like 3 shots.
What's that?
Make the camera shoot like, you know, how you press every time it shoots 3 shots on its own.
Why would the camera, if the camera shoots 2 shots, that's not going to solve the problem. We need 2 exposures in the same shot.
3, 2, 1, go.
That felt better. There we go. Okay. that's basically it. Double exposure, looking good, really nice, but I kind of like that blur. So let's do one with just a pop blur. Do rear curtain sync, and let's do a long exposure, and let's get a little bit like a, because that one kind of looked nice. Yeah, whatever you were there, but I would go even longer, because we want to get some infiltration, because that looks kind of nice. And we turn the modeling light on, which one? This one, right? Put the modeling light on this one. What's that?
Want me to shake the camera?
Nah, let's just have her move. Yeah, so this one, right? So we're going to turn this modeling light on, right? Because what we want to get is a, so this is a blur and then pop. Not a pop and a blur.
Are you changing it up?
We're mixing it up,
Oh, man.
keeping it fresh, funky fresh, rock and roll. Boom, that felt good. Yeah. So this is actually nicer than this eye candy thing that should hire me. All right, good. Because now we're using the constant light and we're creating kind of more of a blur echo. When we use the double flash, it's cool, but that gives us some more soul, I think. And you could move the camera too, it'd be even better. To get a, now this is, what we're doing in this one is we're only firing the flash one time. We're letting the constant light of the modeling light expose, right? Now Dave's gonna try it where he's gonna move the camera instead of her moving. So many different techniques we can do that have nothing to do with this demo at all, but we just went sideways as always. Any questions?
Are you dragging the shutter by how much?
We're going half a second. That's also kind of cool.
Did you just kick in? Yeah.
Try kicking out. I don't want to steal all your stuff. Because
Do I gotta get up there?
that's the only person that's ever done that. You can get up there and finish it if you want. All right, so adding a little bit of blur, right? Now, the deal with this is, what we don't want to do is we don't want to just shoot it with a constant light with a long exposure, because if we do that, it would just be a blurry picture. By adding the flash, we're getting that like kind of underlying part of sharpness, right? With the shadow around it to give us that feel. And there's lots of different ways to do this. Like for instance, we're just using the modeling light to keep it really simple. We could actually add a secondary constant light to do this instead, and you could gel that constant light, for instance. There's a lot of things you could, that's actually kind of nice. It's very Peter Pan. I can see you being Peter Pan.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I got a
Start with the facing and then end with the...
Oh, get up there and do it. Come on, Seth.
Then I'll turn here.
Does somebody want to see Seth do this? Let's do it. Seth. Oh, all right. Too late.
Sorry.
That's pretty cool. I like it. Lots and lots and lots of goodness. He's judging us.
Just stop. It's been the longest day on earth.
Seth has been shooting since 3 o'clock this morning.
Too much, but let's not into that shit. That makes it logo.
I like it.
Now we're thinking, Dave.
Now you're thinking. Okay. Okay. Good job. Okay. Questions about how you might think about how you're doing things. We're going off. This, by the way, I mean, I always do this at the end, so this is nothing new, but I will say this. Whenever I'm on a job and I have the model and I have the location and I have the stuff and I have a layout and we've done all these things and we've done everything to get the prep and we nail the shot for the client because we planned ahead and we had all the equipment and everything was beautiful, and then you got time left at the end of the day, that's when you play, right? Always try to shoot something from your own creativity that goes beyond what they asked for, because that's how you keep a client. I can't tell you the number of times where I've spent the whole day shooting what they had on their layout, and then they end up using the fun thing we shot at the end because it was so different. But if you had pitched that to them, they would have been like, oh, no, no, no. So this gives you the opportunity to do it. So by being prepared, it will give you that extra time to play around and think about that. And that's kind of what we did here at the end. Hopefully that was helpful. Do you have something to say? Nope, Dave's just hanging out. Okay, any questions? Yes.
I think if you go in the menu setup, you do a triple quadruple.
Oh, I'm sure. Listen, I don't go in menu setups. When I get a new camera, I turn the top of it to the M, and then I just shoot. I have no idea how to use it. That's beyond me. Maybe someday I'll read the menu. You can do all kinds of stuff with this camera. You can call your mom on her birthday. It's like a whole thing. So, exactly. Okay, it reminds you. Yeah. Anyways. Any questions? Did I already ask you that? Yes.
The initial setup, when the lights on, when you do the black screen, like how many stops
peek when you go into it.
Oh, you're good. You're good. You like that. So when you're setting up at the beginning and you want to eliminate the light in the space, like how much do you want, how dark do you want to be is basically the question. I usually try to be a couple stops underexposed. So what I'll do is, I'm glad you brought that up because I normally do that and I forgot to. Normally what I'll do is once we make the photo, like here we are at the very beginning, if you guys were here at the beginning. And if not, you can watch the video. So we're underexposed. If I go over to my exposure slider, I'm going to grab it and bring it up until I start to see her. So I kind of see her right there. I'm just about 3 stops roughly. That's plenty. So about 2 stops at least. And the reason why you want to be a couple stops underexposed versus just like a tiny bit is because it gives you room if you need to bring stuff up in post. Sometimes you want to bring your shadows up. You don't want any of that light to be affecting it. So a couple stops underexposed is a good place to be. Other questions? Anything online?
What is the size of the small softbox?
This softbox is 1 by 1,3 feet. That's right. That's exactly what it says, 1,3 feet. They're Swiss?
Yeah,
Swedish rather. They use commas. I don't know. Maybe somebody online can explain why they have a comma there, but it's I guess a third, or is it 0.3? Which is kind of the same. 1.3, yes. Is that the only question? Awesome. Okay, that's it, guys. I'll be back sometime in September. I think the 13th, but I'm not sure. Or the 12th. When we come back from the holiday, whatever it is. Assuming that Frito did a good job, he's going to be rated now. So if you guys like the way Frito did the switching, make sure that you say, give him a 5-star rating on Yelp. Make sure that you follow me on social media, Daniel Norton Photographer. Check out 1200 Sessions. You'll see stuff that we do at Seth where he's not tired and he actually does stuff.
Wow. Give me that camera.
He's going to get up there and do it. It's a Canon. Stay with me. And yeah, thanks. Subscribe to Adorama TV, and I'll see you guys later.
Thank you.
Yay.
TV.
What? IGTV. What?
Cut the mic, cut the mic, cut the mic.
Cut the mic, cut the mic, cut the mic, cut the mic. Boom.